Let's bring in our next guest, local author GinaDoll Garrett. Hi, how's it going?
Great.
Nice to see you again. You're a blonde.
I change every once in a while.
Yes, you're a blonde. Last time I saw you, you were a brunette.
Well,
Are you trying to have more fun? Is that what
I have
going on
multiple
here?
personalities.
Now, Gina, you're an author.
Yes.
And how many books have you written?
Well, I actually written 4 books, but the first 3 I called Sexy Trash.
Sexy Trash?
That's right. This one is more benevolent, more into the internalized spiritual aspects of my life.
Oh, so they're biographies.
They're bad.
They're bad.
They're bad.
So they are biographies.
Yes.
Yeah. So are we talking about personal experiences that you've had?
Oh yeah, they're really because I've studied psychology and tried to figure out what human nature is all about. And the beautiful thing about it,
have you figured it out yet?
No,
no.
There's no way.
Yeah.
It's just too complex.
Right, because people are just different.
Well, people can be uplifted, they can be crazy, they can be obnoxious, they can be repulsive, and yet they can be spiritual.
They can be all those at once.
They can be everything at one time. That's the whole beauty about human beings.
So let's talk about the trashy stuff first.
Oh my God!
Is that just your earlier years?
That's my earlier years. Yeah.
Were you a little bit wild?
I was discovering things.
Okay, what types of things?
Well, all kinds of things. My first book was called, Who's Afraid of the Virgin Wolf?
Who's Afraid of the Virgin Wolf?
Yeah, it was 580 pages, 120 chapters of just human sexuality. All about love and lust and passion.
So it wasn't from Fresno, though. It's
No,
not Fresno,
no, this was
because virgin and everything.
This is my worldwide travels.
Oh, worldwide travels.
I've traveled quite a few places.
Okay, so where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Gustine, California.
You're from Gustine?
Gustine.
And you tell people?
I don't tell too many people about that.
So have you ever played the little golf course there?
Oh, I don't.
On the backside of the reservoir?
There's many high school players who used to go back in that little place.
Yeah.
They like to play with golf balls.
You played with the balls on
the
tee
areas,
whatever, in the box.
So we stayed away from that. I had to be very careful.
All right, so you grow up in Gustine, but do you say, "Wow, I want to travel"?
Yes.
Right? Gustine isn't my jam.
Oh,
I want to get
no.
out of here and check some stuff out.
Absolutely. So what I did is when I graduated from high school, I went to junior college, Stockton, and then
boy, was that a step up, right?
I know. And now they're in bankruptcy. Thank God I got away from Stockton, California.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to college in Stockton, studying what?
Actually, I was studying electronics before I transferred to Fresno State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you go from Stockton to Fresno, and that's when things start to get wild.
Oh, that's the beginning of a whole new lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of fantasies about love, compassion, lust.
Yeah.
And all the things that make Fresno State so wonderful.
What years are we talking here?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go back that far. Yeah. That's a long time ago.
All right. Well, then let me ask you this.
I'm only 39 and a half.
I understand. Where were you hanging out for all this compassion and stuff?
Oh, well, I used to hang out in the bars learning about who can play a wonderful drum or jazz or whatever it might be, and at the same time just enjoying the fruits of life at the time of trying to experience what is it all about, as well as getting educated.
And it took you 3 books and hundreds of chapters to get through all those stories.
Oh, it was more. That's more the migration of like a butterfly towards some unbelievable place in the deep, deep blue sea. There was a cavern down there somewhere where I came from, and then all of a sudden I had to figure out what is experience all about.
Well, wait a minute. We're a butterfly.
Of
we're
course,
in the sea,
butterfly.
and we have a cavern.
Yes.
And there's lots of benevolence.
There's a psychological aspect to that.
Okay. So we work ourselves out of the trashy novels.
We do, and then we finally get into the point where it's time to really figure out what it's all about. So I'm kind of like a writer that writes in the form of a stream of consciousness.
So you write like you speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Much like that, and then it's kind of like a Federico Fellini film.
Oh, what?
You know, a Federico Fellini film. You know?
Oh, Fred.
You know, Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie, whatever his last name was.
Freddie Weddy. All right.
But see, that's the whole thing about eventually going from one place to another. But my experiences were really later on in life. Because when I finally graduated from Fresno State, I went down south to Los Angeles.
Oh, to Los Angeles.
To Los Angeles.
Okay. So you get down to Los Angeles, and then what?
Well, I was working in aerospace, electronics, for quite a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Vandenberg?
Well, I can't say about, you know, I had a secret clearance, so there's some things I can say.
Working on the old missiles, huh?
I was working on something, that's for sure.
All right. So you're working in electronics for a while.
Yeah.
And when is it that you go, you know, I'm much more than this.
Oh, absolutely.
I need to be a writer. People need to hear me.
Yeah. Oh, you know, that happened many, many years. In fact, my first recognition of expressing of a different spiritual light, because I believe that when I was born with a soul of a female in a man's body.
You were born with the soul of a female in a man's body. Interesting.
Right. And that's
Tell
why
me how you dealt with that growing up.
Well, it was very complex. I think it was my mother first started putting dresses on me as a mannequin. And that's probably...
Was she a seamstress?
She was a seamstress.
So she needed
was a
you
farm-
to wear the...
Absolutely, just to be able to put them on and
And
make
you're like,
sure.
hey,
And
this little breeze feels good.
I'm saying,
Right.
what am I doing here? You know, I should be helping Daddy, you know, work on the farm, you know, milking cows or
Right.
pitching hay or trying to
the
figure out
dress felt good.
or try to you know, sling mud somewhere.
Well, you know, save that for the big
mud.
city.
Cow mud, absolutely.
Right.
That
All
was
right,
just
so
too
mom's
much.
dressing you up in some dresses and
Yeah.
stuff, and it kind of sticks with you.
It kind of sticks, but then it's
But you got the
subliminal.
soul to go with it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's the driving force. I call that, you know, the golden nugget of fire. It's the energy package that you're born with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of your spirit and your persona, your personality.
Billy,
Yeah,
how's your energy package?
really good.
Thank you.
He's got a nuclear
All right.
explosion inside.
He's
yeah.
got a nuclear explosion. Yeah,
Yeah.
If you only knew.
If you only knew, yeah.
So
I can see the radiation over his head. He's kind of like
that's
this.
not radiation, Gina. Okay, you're gonna go into the writing, and you're gonna tell everybody about your life experiences.
Yeah, but you know, before I did that, I did a lot of traveling.
Was this writing? Was this a form of therapy for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it a way to tell your story because your story's a little tough to tell?
It is a tough one to tell, because you know what you do is you're actually exploring at the same time, doing things that other people wouldn't do. You know.
Well, some would.
Some would,
Like
and
you just
some
didn't
won't.
think it up on your own.
It's
you
like
know?
those things,
right? I mean,
Sometimes
you
do.
had heard about it.
I heard about
Right.
it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you will, and sometimes you won't.
I know.
And sometimes maybe.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole crux of it.
You know, maybe's probably the best way to go, right?
I would say you got a lot of exploring.
You got a lot
to
of
do.
maybes going on, don't you? So, the book that you're here to talk about today.
Well, this is the book that I just had done. I've got it both in black and white and in color.
My Way, Your Way, Our Way.
Right. And that's what it's all about.
So, is this a handbook of sorts?
You know what it is? It's exploring and discovering yourself, trying to figure out what it's all about.
Are you writing this book for you, or are you writing it for other people?
I write it with the intention that other people will look and say, my God, that is me, or it may not be me.
Right.
But it does.
Or to read it and to meet other people like you and have an understanding a little bit?
Well, sometimes they understand exactly what I'm writing about, and others say, oh, God, why did you make me this way?
Or do you feel like sometimes just handing the book to people and say, read this and then get back to me?
No, there's never a need to do that. Because once they know that you're first a trans woman, which is a transsexual, and there's different levels.
Would you mind explaining the difference?
Well, the difference is the transgender umbrella comprises, you've got the gay, lesbian, transgender, you've got the intersexual, and then you got a few other dribbles along the way. Queer.
The mishmashes.
The mishmashes
Right.
and all that. And the whole idea is to try to figure out where in the category do you belong. Because you're also talking about cross-dressers, heterosexuals. Heterosexuals love to wear women's clothes, but they're still heterosexual.
Right.
They have an intimate
they like
relationship.
to wear women's clothes, but they still want to be with a woman.
They still want to be with a woman.
Is that your deal?
No, mine is really a combination. I prefer to be with a man. Because...
Or the right woman.
Or the right woman.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a matter of...
Is it about attraction and love more than anything else?
It's really more of attraction and love. That's what it's all about. It's the chemistry. It's the chemical dump inside of your body, mind, and soul. When you explore and you find out it's love, it's not love. It could be just exploring.
Lust.
It could be lust. It could be more than lust.
Because Gina, there's people that just don't get it and don't want to get it.
Well,
right?
There's
people that are afraid of it and people that think it's wrong, and this book is going to help people understand?
Yeah, I think so, because you know what it really is? There are 4,200 religions in this world. Of a population of about 7.8 billion people. And look in the United States, we have about 335 million people, and probably 5% of that population is gay, lesbian, intersexual, transgender. Now, the difference is a transgender can be several different species, but you can also be an intersexual where you're born with both sexes, where you may have a male and female part that doesn't belong there.
Right.
And so it may be up to the family or the doctor to determine which way should I go. Should I snip it or should I cut it? And then you find out psychologically you're the wrong person in the wrong body now.
You might have needed that later.
You might have needed that later on. So it's one of those things that happens. It's a tragedy in life.
I think that this book, if it's what we're talking about this whole time, could be very useful in society.
It'll be very enlightening.
Okay. GinaDoll Garrett, where do they find this book?
You can buy this on Amazon.com.
Can I thank you for coming by?
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice to see you again. You'll come back to see me again?
I will, of course.
All right. GinaDoll Garrett, go pick up her book, My Way, Your Way, Our Way.